At the hospital, Alicia expanded her outreach program. Young women, young couples, community leaders. She spoke openly, not with bitterness, but clarity. One of the most dangerous myths, she told a room full of students, is that survival requires self-betrayal. Hands went up. Questions followed. Conversations bloomed. After one session, a young woman stayed behind. "My boyfriend says real love means sacrifice," she said nervously. "How do I know where the line is?" Alicia smiled gently. "Love never asks you to disappear," she said. "That's the line." The girl nodded slowly, as if something inside her had just shifted. Daniel remained steady. He didn't rush, didn't rescue, didn't demand. One evening, as they walked through a park, Alicia stopped. "I need to tell you something," she said. He turned fully toward her. "I'm listening. If you ever feel like you have to compromise me to survive," she said softly, "this won't work." Daniel didn't hesitate. "I would rather struggle honestly than succeed by breaking you," he said. That was the moment Alicia knew. Not that she was healed completely, but that she was safe. Marcus watched Alicia from a distance, through community news, interviews, and stories that no longer included him. And for the first time, he didn't feel entitled to her growth. He felt grateful it happened without him. He wrote one final letter. Not asking, not hoping, just acknowledging. "You didn't destroy our marriage," it read. "I did. And you taught me something I should have known already. Love is protection, not pressure." Alicia read it once. Then she filed it away. Some chapters don't need replies. At an award ceremony, Alicia's name was called. She stepped onto the stage, applause rising. The plaque read, "For courage, integrity, and leadership." As she held it, she thought about the woman she used to be, afraid that saying no would cost her everything. She smiled. She had been wrong. Saying no had given her everything. Late one night, Alicia wrote in her journal again. "If my daughter ever asks what love looks like," she wrote, "I will tell her this story. Not to scare her, but to remind her that dignity is non-negotiable." She closed the book. Outside, the city breathed. Inside, Alicia was whole. Alicia was reviewing reports in her office when her phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. She almost ignored it. Almost. "Hello," she answered. There was a pause. Then a familiar voice. Softer than she remembered. "Alicia, it's Marcus." Her chest tightened, but her voice stayed calm. "What do you need, Marcus?" "I wouldn't call if it wasn't important," he said. "My mom, she's sick. Really sick. She asked for you." Alicia closed her eyes briefly. There was a time when she would have dropped everything without question. That time had passed. "I'm sorry she's unwell," Alicia said carefully. "But I'm no longer part of that family." "I know," Marcus replied quickly. "I know I don't deserve to ask. She just wanted to apologize. To you." Silence stretched between them. Alicia exhaled. "Send me the hospital details. I'll think about it." When the call ended, she sat back in her chair, heart pounding, not with longing, but with memory. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and quiet regret. Marcus's mother, Lorraine, looked smaller than Alicia remembered. Fragile. Time had humbled her. When she saw Alicia, tears filled her eyes immediately. "You didn't have to come," Lorraine whispered. "I came because I wanted closure," Alicia replied honestly. Lorraine nodded weakly. "I raised my son to think money could fix shame. I see now where that led." Alicia listened. Not defensive. Not angry. Just present. "I failed you," Lorraine continued. "When he told me what he asked of you, I felt sick. No woman should hear that from her husband." Alicia felt something loosen in her chest. "Thank you for saying that," she said softly. They didn't hug. They didn't need to. Some apologies don't restore relationships. They restore truth. Marcus walked Alicia to the elevator. I didn't expect you to come, he admitted. I didn't expect to either, Alicia said. He hesitated. Seeing you seem whole. I am, she replied. And that's why I can't step backward. He nodded, eyes glistening. I won't ask again. Good, she said gently. Because growth means respecting the no, even when it hurts. The elevator doors closed, and with them, the last loose thread. Daniel noticed the shift in Alicia that evening. You okay? He asked as they walked through the park. I faced something old today, she said. And it didn't own me. He smiled. That's powerful. She reached for his hand, not because she needed grounding, but because she wanted connection. For the first time, love felt safe. Not transactional. Not conditional. Not desperate. Just mutual. Months later, Alicia launched a new initiative at the hospital, the Choice Project. It provided counseling and emergency resources for women pressured into compromising situations by partners, employers, or family. At the opening event, Alicia spoke plainly. Sometimes the bravest thing a woman can say is no, she said. And sometimes the hardest thing a man must learn is to respect it. The room rose in applause. Not for Alicia alone, but for every woman who had been asked to carry what was never hers. That night, Alicia wrote in her journal one last time. I was asked to disappear so someone else could survive. I refused. And in that refusal, I found myself. She closed the book. Her story didn't end with betrayal. It began with choice. A week after the Choice Project launched, Alicia received an email marked urgent. It was from a young woman named Brianna. I heard you speak, the message read. My husband hasn't asked me what yours did, but he's been hinting, saying my body could help us get ahead. I don't know who else to tell. Alicia stared at the screen for a long moment. Then she replied, You did the right thing by speaking. You are not wrong, and you are not alone. They met 2 days later, quiet cafe, corner table. Brianna's hands shook as she talked. I thought marriage meant sacrifice, she said. I didn't know it could cross into this. Alicia listened, not as a rescuer, but as someone who had stood in that same confusion. Sacrifice is shared, Alicia said gently. Exploitation is one-sided. Brianna nodded, tears falling. That day, Alicia realized her story wasn't just healing her. It was becoming a mirror for others. Word spread. Local radio invited Alicia to speak. Then a podcast. Then a community panel. Each time, she kept her language clear and firm. This isn't about sex, she said. It's about power. About asking someone you claim to love to absorb your fear so you don't have to. Messages flooded in. Some were gratitude. Some were anger, mostly from men who felt attacked. Alicia didn't argue. Truth doesn't need to shout. Daniel worried sometimes. You're carrying a lot. I'm not carrying it, Alicia said. I'm setting it down, so others don't have to pick it up alone. Marcus followed everything quietly. The interviews. The initiative. The applause. He didn't comment. Didn't reach out. For once, he understood that growth meant staying out of spaces he no longer had access to. One evening, his therapist asked, What do you feel when you see her thriving? Marcus thought carefully. Gratitude, he said finally. And grief. But the grief is mine. That answer meant something had finally shifted. 2 years later, Daniel didn't propose with fireworks or pressure. They were cooking dinner when he said, I don't need marriage to feel secure with you. But I'd like to build a life, if that's something you want too. Alicia smiled. No timelines. No leverage. No fear. Yes, she said. I want that. When he slipped the ring on her finger months later, it felt light. Not like a promise that would cost her, but one that would stand with her. Years passed. Alicia sat on the edge of her daughter's bed one evening, brushing her hair. Mom, the girl asked, How do you know when someone really loves you? Alicia paused. When they would rather struggle with you, she said, than succeed by using you. Her daughter nodded, absorbing the words quietly. Alicia kissed her forehead. Some lessons travel through generations. This one would not be repeated. Alicia never became famous. She became grounded. She never sought revenge. She chose clarity. And long after the shock of the question faded, one truth stayed firm. No amount of money is worth the loss of self. No marriage survives the sale of dignity. And saying no can be the beginning of everything. 3 years after Alicia rebuilt her life, the past tried to knock, quietly, politely, like it deserved permission. A mutual acquaintance invited Alicia and Daniel to a corporate charity fundraiser. Alicia almost declined. Something about the name on the invitation felt familiar. When they arrived, the ballroom buzzed with polite laughter and polished smiles. Then she saw him, Mr. Caldwell. Older, grayer, still confident. The man who once believed women were bargaining tools. Their eyes met briefly. His smile faltered. Later that evening, he approached her cautiously. "Alicia," he said, "you probably don't want to hear from me, but—" "You're right," she replied calmly. "I don't." Daniel stood beside her, silent but solid. Caldwell cleared his throat. "I've changed. I lost everything after the investigation. I'm trying to make amends." Alicia met his gaze evenly. Amends aren't announcements. They're actions. She walked away. Not shaking. Not angry. Just uninterested. Weeks later, a letter arrived at Alicia's office. From Caldwell. He wrote about regret. About consequences. About learning. At the bottom, he asked if she would meet him, privately, to complete his healing. Alicia read it once. Then she shredded it. Some people want forgiveness to feel lighter. Others deserve distance so you can breathe. The Choice Project expanded nationally. Grants came in. Partnerships formed. Alicia hired counselors, legal advocates, and financial coaches. One evening, during a team meeting, a staff member said, "You know this is bigger than you now, right?" Alicia smiled. That's the point. They reached women in cities, suburbs, and small towns. Different faces. Same pressure. Different languages. Same truth. Marcus remarried years later. Before he did, he wrote Alicia one last letter, not asking for forgiveness, not seeking approval. Just honesty. "I learned that love doesn't mean surviving at any cost," he wrote. "It means refusing to let someone else pay the price for your fear." Alicia didn't reply. But she felt no anger. Only closure. On a quiet Sunday morning, Alicia sat on her porch, coffee warm in her hands. Daniel watered the plants. Their daughter laughed inside. There was no dramatic music. No applause. Just peace. She thought back to the woman who once wondered if saying no would cost her everything. She smiled. It had given her everything that mattered. Brianna didn't leave immediately. That surprised Alicia. Weeks after their meeting, Brianna sent a message. "I'm still here. Still married. Still thinking." Alicia didn't push. Healing had taught her that awakening comes in stages. One afternoon, Brianna showed up at the Choice Project office, eyes tired, posture folded inward. "He says he didn't mean it like that," Brianna whispered. "That he was just talking. Testing ideas." Alicia nodded slowly. Words test boundaries before actions cross them. Brianna's eyes filled. "So what if I'm overreacting?" Alicia leaned forward gently. "If your body enters a conversation you didn't invite it into, you're not overreacting. You're listening." That sentence stayed with Brianna for weeks. The choice came quietly. No shouting. No dramatic confrontation. Just a night when Brianna realized she was holding her breath in her own home. She packed a bag. Left a note. "I need space to remember who I am before I become who you want." When she called Alicia the next morning, Her voice shook, but it didn't break. "I left," she said. Alicia closed her eyes, heart full. "I'm proud of you." "I'm terrified," Brianna admitted. "Courage usually feels like that at first," Alicia replied. Not everyone celebrated Alicia's work. An online article criticized the Choice Project, calling it anti-marriage and too radical. The comments were cruel. Daniel worried. "Do you want to respond?" Alicia read them calmly. "No," she said. "I didn't build this to be liked. I built it to be honest." Instead of arguing, she hosted a public forum. Men and women spoke. Some disagreed. Some listened for the first time. Truth doesn't demand applause, it invites reflection. At one forum, Alicia noticed a man sitting in the back row. Quiet. Phil. Afterward, he approached her carefully. "My wife left last year," he said. "I didn't ask her what your husband asked you. But I made her feel like her worth was tied to what she could endure." Alicia listened. "I came to learn," he said. "Not to be defended." She nodded. That's where change starts. Late one night, Alicia sat alone in her office. She thought about the life she didn't choose. The version of herself who stayed quiet. Who agreed, just once. Who carried shame that was never hers. She felt no nostalgia for that path. Only relief. Some doors don't close, you walk away from them. Years later, Alicia's daughter stood on a small stage at school, reading an essay. "My mom says dignity isn't loud," the girl read. "It's steady. And once you give it away, it's hard to find again, but if you protect it, it protects you too." Alicia felt tears rise. This was the victory that mattered. Alicia was once asked to trade herself for survival. She refused. And in that refusal, she built safety, not just for herself, but for others. Not every woman leaves. Not every man learns. But every woman deserves the right to say no without fear.